Hey, I'm And.
And I'm Beck.
And we are the Gold Diggers, because we believe there's gold found in everyone.
Everyone is unique, interesting and exciting with a great story to share.
And we aim to find it.
The question is, can we rise to the challenge and strike gold? Stay tuned to find out as we chat to today's mystery guest.
Honey, you're my sugar.
So this is how it works. We are actually doing a caviar and cactus today, which is where Beck and I talk about the good and the bad.
Yes, we do.
Things that have been working for us, things that haven't.
Yes, and it's going to be a very interesting podcast, so listen in.
Yes, and normally we have an opener here where the Queen says, get on with it, Ange and Beck. But we've just had the coronation of King Charles. Yeah. So it almost feels like we should change our opener and put, I was going to try and do a Charles voice then.
Yeah.
Should we try it? Oh, get on with it. No. Sounds just like his mother.
Let's find an Aussie. I don't know who it would be though.
Dame Edna.
Oh yeah, that would be funny.
Let's put Dame Edna in there.
Maybe we need to put a bit more thought into this.
Okay, so talking about the coronation.
Yeah.
You just told me you didn't watch it, Beck.
No, I'm afraid I've lost interest.
Why?
Princess Diana was probably the height of the royal family for me.
Okay, so so let's talk. Okay,
yeah.
So first of all, we're going to start by talking about some caviar and cactus, just some things that have been happening in our world. But then we're going to go on to talk about caviar and cactus for different topics that are relevant. So what's been happening in your world, Beck?
Lots of things as normal, but I guess the latest thing that's happened has been my book launch, which was
that's right.
Very recent.
That was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's your caviar moment.
Yes. So that was very exciting, and we had a great turnout.
Were you happy with the response?
Yeah, I was. It was very good. I was very pleased. Yeah, and we had this excellent person do the introduction and welcome for us at the book launch.
Yes,
and,
so a very well-known person, producer Dave.
Dave Matthews.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Yeah, and he actually got quite serious there for a moment
I
too.
was really impressed.
That blindsided me.
Yep. It was a great intro. So.
Now, I believe that you have sold some in Italy, haven't you?
Yes, we've sold 72 books in Italy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was just flabbergasted.
Congratulations.
That's another cool word, flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really British word. Is it
It could
an
be.
Aussie word?
No, it's not Aussie, but it's a good word.
Actually, I'd love to look at the origins of where does flabbergasted come from? Such a weird word, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the wordsmith.
I just think it's a cool word to use.
Yeah.
But yes, Italy.
Okay, so book launch for you.
Yes.
I guess for me, yesterday I got news that we agreed a sale on a house. So we are officially moving house.
Closer to me. Yes. Hello. That's awesome.
That is definitely a caviar moment.
That really is.
Yeah.
Yes.
A caviar moment is I've now got 4 weeks to pack my house and move.
A cactus moment?
Yeah. Sorry, cactus moment. Yeah. So that's not so good, but yeah, I actually quite like setting a goal, even if it's a goal where it's a stretch to achieve it.
Yeah.
Because I think it just makes you more motivated and you get things done. You achieve a lot more.
That's
so
right.
I don't mind the quick turnaround. I think actually
At least it won't be like a long drawn out process where you're like trying to pack things for months on end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually moving house, like it just came out of the blue really. We just suddenly decided it seemed like the right time.
Yeah.
Dara's in his final year of uni and everything, all the ducks seem to line up and then so we're moving.
It's the season for it.
I know.
It? Yeah.
I know. So that's exciting. And it was a house where the negotiations were really difficult.
Yeah.
You know, and it seemed to take a long time. And there were moments there where you really thought, oh, I'm not going to get this house. And when you walk in a house and you just get a connection to it.
Yeah.
And you can imagine yourself living there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how me and Noel felt when we walked through it.
That's
As soon as
so
we went
good.
through the front door, in fact, it felt like I was walking through a home that was very familiar.
Yeah, you
And
connected to it
yeah.
straight away, didn't you?
Yeah.
But then like a week ago you're ringing me saying, oh, we didn't get it. And it was so devastating.
Yeah.
And then yesterday you ring me and you're like, guess what? We got the house.
We're moving. I know. So it's kind of a real roller coaster. But,
Definitely.
but anyway, we're delighted. We're
so
moving into a
exciting.
house that we really feel just is so suited to us, as if it was built for us. You know.
Amazing.
So that's a caviar moment.
It
But
really
I
is.
could share a cactus moment.
Okay.
And I share this reluctantly because now producer Dave is smiling at me from across the room because he knows what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I got done for speeding.
Oh, Angela.
But it was really one of those ones where it just shouldn't have happened.
Yes.
And it was really annoying. And I was driving along the Nicklin Way. For those of you that are local, you'll know the Nicklin Way. For those of you that aren't, it's a road that is a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit on it.
Yeah.
And I saw a police cop with a gun.
Yeah.
And he zapped me. And I thought, and I looked at my speed and I was doing 71.
Yeah.
So he pulls me over and then he comes to my door, knocks on my door, my window, pull the window down. And he's got this really stern look. And I think, why am I in trouble? I can't understand it. So I'm just smiling as if, you know, my tail lights out or something
You
like
thought
that.
he was coming to congratulate you
Yeah.
for doing the speed.
Yes.
Well done. We're just pulling people over today to say well done on keeping the speed limit and keeping everyone safe.
Exactly. But no, he says, I clocked you at 71. And I went, oh, okay, good.
So only one over.
I was thinking, because I actually looked at my clock and it said 74. My speedometer, it said 74. So when he said 71, I was congratulating myself, thinking, yes, I've done it. And then he says, but are you aware that you are now in a school zone? And it's just clicked down to 40. And I hadn't. I just pulled out of the gas station. And so I was not doing 1 over the limit. I was doing 31 over the limit.
No.
And he gave me 6 points.
Oh, that's awful.
But the problem is I already had a number of points on my license. So now I'm driving like a snail for the next 3 years.
do you need me to drive you around? I can drive you around in your
I'll probably
car
do.
if
I
you
volunteer for everyone else to drive me at the moment because I'm just so nervous. And, you know, I drive a nice car. I drive a fast car. I've got a V8, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody has sympathy for you when you drive one of those. It's like as soon as they see, in fact, they go for you. They want to pull you over.
There are certain cars that attract the police's attention.
Well, mine is one of them. And sadly, yeah. Anyway, so that's a real cactus
that is
moment.
a cactus moment.
What about you?
Probably a cactus moment for me would be, so we've lived in our house for about 8 years now, right? And it seems to be at the 8-year mark that everything starts falling apart.
Oh,
So-
no.
Yeah. So we've got our solar doesn't work anymore. We're going to have to repaint the house. Just things are not working as they should be. But that leads me to a caviar moment, which means we've just renovated the lounge room. We'll have to get new solar. You know, it's going to turn out good, but at the moment, we're just like, okay, well, that needs fixing and that needs fixing.
Well,
so.
I think you've just put a cactus moment on my caviar moment.
Oh,
Because the house we're moving into is 8 years old.
that's why they're selling.
Thanks. I didn't realise that. Everything falls apart at 8 years old. Thank you.
It's so weird, isn't it? No, maybe they've just redone it all for you. Let's say
Well,
that.
maybe. So other thing we've just celebrated is Mother's Day. So let's talk Caviar and Cactus about our role as mums.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. Can you think of a cactus? I can think of plenty.
Oh, look, as a mum, there are so many great moments, so many mixed emotions to being a mum because your heart is just wrapped up in your children, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when they hurt, you hurt. When they have it, like when they rejoice, you rejoice. And so you are almost feeling for yourself and feeling for everyone in your family as well. So I think mothers carry a lot of emotion throughout each day depending on what each child is going through. So that can be both a caviar and a cactus thing.
I think the big thing is like you're attached to your children, like physically attached by the umbilical cord to your children. And then obviously they're born, and as they grow older, that attachment gets less and less and less to a point where you almost have to sever the umbilical cord and, you know, let them go off into the world on their own. And that process is actually quite painful, I think.
But I don't think you ever you ever not have those heartstrings
Yeah.
attached to them. And a lot of people say it's like wearing your heart on your sleeve, like with your children, on the outside of your body, and it really is. And it's beautiful and emotional all at once. But
Yeah.
I do have some exciting news that I have not told you yet.
Oh.
But my motherhood is turning into grandmotherhood.
Oh. Are you serious?
I have a
What a way
little
to
grandbaby
announce
on the way.
Which one?
So this is Jessie and Bree.
Oh, I thought it was.
And I haven't even told you yet.
No, you haven't. This is a complete surprise, I can assure you. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can see the shock on my face.
It's not going to be Nana.
Nana Beck.
So funny. Except I'm going to be called, Tony and I have decided we're going to be called Mimi and Pappy.
Mimi?
Mimi and
Mimi.
Pappy. Because we already have a Nana and we already have a ma and a grandma in our family. So we're like, let's do something different. So I think we're going to be Mimi
I
and
could
Pappy.
cry. Huge congratulations. What an amazing announcement. Congratulations, Jess and Bree. That's so good.
It's so weird to think, I've got a grandbaby on the way. So now I'm
how
looking.
do you feel like now that you're going to become a Nat? Mimi.
And Mimi. Nana, what? It's surreal.
You do realise they're going to call you a meme.
Me? No, it'll be me. It's surreal. It's very exciting. And I do find now I'm watching, whether subconsciously or consciously, I'm watching a lot of grandmothers with their grandchildren, just taking notice of those things. And a lot of my friends are already nanas.
So how did they tell you?
Oh, my goodness. This is a story. So Bree had been having some issues, like health issues. And one day she texted me and she said, would you mind coming to an ultrasound with me? They have to just do a checkup on something to see how this is progressing. And I said, oh, look, I only had an hour spare in that day. And I said, what time is it? And she told me the time is directly in that spare hour that I had. And I said, yep, I can do that. So I went with her to the ultrasound, thinking it was to do, something else. And anyway, so then they were showing the ultrasound on her belly and I saw a baby and I just put my hand over my mouth and burst into tears. And the nurse said, there it is.
There's a heartbeat.
And it was just, and I saw the heartbeat and it was
you then, not Tony or anything.
No, it's just me and Bree. So, because Jessie was at work, it was really special.
That is actually a really beautiful way for her to involve you.
Yeah.
I love that. Well done, Bree.
Yeah, I was just a mess.
So when was that?
That's my little grandbaby. Sorry.
When was that?
That was a couple of weeks ago.
Are you serious?
I know.
How have you kept that from me, Beck?
Because I was told with strict instructions. That
so they're announcing it now, are they?
By the time this podcast is broadcast, yes.
That is, that's made my week. That is such good news. I can't wait to see you as Nana.
Oh,
Mimi.
I can't wait. I love babies and to have my own
I know you had 4.
I know. To have my own grandbabies starting to come along is very exciting.
Yeah.
So we'll have a little Christmas baby.
Okay.
Yes.
Christmas, wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good.
Early December.
Yeah. How's Tony feel about that? How was his reaction?
He was stoked. He's just for men, like, first of all it's the emotions of, oh, this is so exciting, and then it's like, we're gonna have to fix the house up so it's baby proof.
Yeah.
So that comes into the renovation side of things as well, but we're totally just so excited for them. And Kaji and I and Shane went shopping the other day and bought a few little baby things to make it feel realer for them. And Tony bought a beautiful baby book for them. So yeah,
and so that's begun.
Yeah.
So last year, you obviously 2 of your children got married, left the home, and there was kind of this grieving for you that they were leaving, and now you've got an addition. So is that kind of thrown that on its head a little?
Yeah, well, even with the leaving, I think I've been pleasantly surprised, maybe not surprised, but just very pleased with how close we all still are. And the kids will come over on Sundays for lunch. Like last Sunday, we spent all day after church and into the evening, just cooking and eating together and spending time together. And so we are all still very close. And now it's just we have a bigger family. We have the in-law children, and now we have a baby more on the way, and so it's just growing, and we all get along real well. So
I am so stoked for you. Honestly, I was not expecting that. You just shocked me completely.
It was so hard.
In fact, you throw me off, and all the other things were like nothing is going to compare into comparison to that news. So that's awesome.
You know how hard it has been not to tell you.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed. I thought we told each other everything, Beck.
I've told you now.
No, yeah, along with everybody else. No, that's awesome. Oh, well, congratulations to them. Okay, let's talk about then Caviar and Cactus. Like a lot of people want to write their book. Maybe they have a goal. It's on their bucket list. One day I'm going to write a book. I've done it. You've done it. You've just had your book launch. Yeah. What are the caviar and cactus of that book writing journey?
Yes. So I think at the very beginning of writing a book, you really have to gather your thoughts of what you want this end result to look like. So instead of just, you can write your life story down, but you still need to have structure. So I think throughout writing, it's really pulling the structure together so that the book makes sense as a whole.
Yeah.
And you would have found that with yours.
Yeah, I think like my caviar moment in writing a book is it really brings clarity to your life.
Yes.
And I think it really grounds you in the journey that you've gone through to the point that you're at now. And I think it adds a lot of purpose, and you can see so much purpose through your journey as you've written it back and you reflect. And it's actually a really healing process. I think it's a positive thing. And I think everybody should write a book about their life, whether they release it or they don't. I just think it's a really good thing to do because it adds so much to you. Yeah. I think the the cactus moment is really knowing what to include and what to exclude. And probably in how you reference people, because, you know, we go through some difficult times. Relationships don't always work the way we'd hoped. And how do you represent those people in your story? You know, and I came to the conclusion to be honest without dishonoring.
That's exactly it.
And trying to get that balance can be really difficult when you're writing your book. And you never really know if you've got it until you've released it and see their reaction.
That's it. And I think it is a big thing about honouring other people and choosing what you want people to know and choosing what you want to protect the people in your world from as well. So there are things people
what's
don't.
Your caviar moment?
Caviar is definitely seeing that thread that pulls, like when you go back and read your own life that you've written down on paper, it's just seeing how the thread of it all coming together and themes in your life. And it's like, wow, I went through that and I learned that and this happened because of this experience, and it kind of makes a lot of sense of your life when you write it down, doesn't it?
It does, I love that process. Okay, so next one then. What are the caviar and cactus about growing older?
Oh.
That's one, isn't it?
Well,
now that you're a grandma.
Yes. Well, cactus about that. I have a few more grey hairs. Caviar about growing older. I don't care as much about what other people think. I think I'm more confident in myself of who I am.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, I like that. I like being this age and just going, you know what, I'm going to give something a go just because I want to give it a go, not because of what anyone else thinks. Do you know what I mean?
I also think we've got so much more wisdom and experience under our belt now that actually we can really help the next generations and, you know, not just give what our opinion is, but give it from experience and from our own, you know, wisdom that we've accumulated over many years to actually really be able to help them.
That's right. And I also think as you get older, you realise how fast life goes.
Yeah.
And there's not really a lot of time to waste.
Nah.
So it's like if you have a dream in your heart and there's something you want to do with your life, now is the time to begin that or do it. Because the years do go fast. When you're young, you think you've got forever.
Yeah.
And then you get to my age and you're expecting a grandbaby.
Well, you are. I think like you get to that kind of mid-40 age and then you suddenly realise, actually I'm halfway to 90 if we make it to 90.
Yeah.
So you realise you're probably over halfway.
Yeah.
And you're now on the decline as opposed to the incline.
And then
so
your
you
eyes
do.
start deteriorating. You have to wear glasses.
Yeah. Hence I got new glasses. But yeah, and so I think you do get that sense that time's running out. And so you actually want to make the most of every day.
Yes.
And so you make every minute count.
Absolutely. And I think it's a matter of just as you get older and you're wiser, like you said, you take more risks, don't you?
I think a cactus moment, though, is it takes so much longer and harder to get the same results that you got when you were younger.
Yeah.
So, for instance, climbing the stairs. It takes you a lot longer to get to the top than it did when you were 20.
And every time you move, you make a sound like,
Yeah. And even like staying fit and healthy,
yeah.
you almost have to work twice as hard as you did. I just think that's cruel. That's a design fault there somewhere.
I think too, and talking to a lot of women lately, I think part of getting older is you have to embrace the stage you are in.
Yeah.
And because especially as women, our bodies change remarkably throughout our lives. Like just with every season of life, our bodies change and we can't look back and think, oh, I wish I still looked like that because we're not that age anymore. We have to just go with it and embrace the age that we are and what our body's doing in that age and make the best of it, I guess.
I know, but then what happens is your body begins to decline and something else breaks down and you're thinking, is that broken down because something's wrong or is that broken down because I'm just getting old?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to check everything because you just don't know. Is that just natural deterioration?
Needs a little bit more upkeep.
Yeah. Okay, the next one then. What about being Australian?
Australian. I know no other.
Yeah. What's the caviar of being
Caviar.
Australian?
Oh, I love our country.
Yeah.
I love the landscape. I love our animals, our birds. I love our beaches.
Snakes and the spiders?
Yeah, they, I give names to the spiders I see, like Wilbur and like he's like, there's a spider. And I'm like, oh, that's just Wilbur the spider. He's been on the stairs for a couple of days now. But, yeah, I'm not really scared of spiders, but snakes, not my favorite. Yeah, generally, it's just a great country.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's so many great things because being a migrant into this country, I think I can appreciate because I've lived in a different culture. So I can appreciate what Australia offers that I haven't found elsewhere. And I love the expanse of the country. Yeah. And I love the fact that the landscape changes so dramatically. And you can go on holiday from the north of Australia and it's a very different experience if you go to the south of Australia. And I just think there's so much diversity and things to do and see here that you actually never really have to leave the country to experience a lot of life. I love the people here. I think that they're just so down to earth and really laid back and they're not pretentious or anything like that. They just like good old raw Aussie people that just knuckle down and get on with it.
Aussies are great.
So they're great like that. But that's also can be a frustrating thing when you want something done.
Yes, we're all on holidays.
Like, the
if the surf's good,
the plumbing's broken in the house. Don't think you're going to get emergency services. It'll take you 3 days.
Most things you kind of learn how to do yourself here.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's probably why.
Yeah.
So there are a few downsides, but I love being Australian and proud to be Australian now as well.
Yeah. Well, we're proud to have you being an Australian.
Thank you. What would be your cactus?
Of Australia, probably February. February's really muggy.
It's hot, yeah.
That's my cactus of Australia, February.
I know. Like, how many changes of clothes a day?
Oh, I don't know. It's just too hot.
For some of us, it should be more.
That's it. But it is a good time to go and enjoy our beaches.
Yeah. I mean, the climate and that's great. Can't complain much about that. Okay, so Dave wanted me to add this one in there. Dave said don't throw him under a bus. But I'm adding this in there because this is a typical man one. I would not come up with this.
Okay.
What is the caviar and cactus of G-strings? Typical male.
Well, wouldn't know, but I imagine they'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah, they should never. I think we should shoot the man that designed them. It's got to be a man.
The
Surely
only
it's a man
good
that designed
G-string
G-strings.
is one that's on a guitar.
Yeah, no, nothing good comes from them, does it really?
No, I don't think so. Some people like them, but anyway, we're talking about G-strings.
Okay, I guess you can avoid a VPL.
A VPL.
I know you're so
I have
innocent.
no idea what that is.
It's a visible panty line.
Of course. But you can get seamless undies now. So.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it's called Commando. Moving on.
I can't believe we're going here.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Right, so Caviar and Cactus about going on YouTube.
Yes.
So we are now. You not only hear us now, you can actually see us. So hi, YouTube.
Yeah.
So what are the Caviar and Cactus about that?
Hopefully it's I don't know.
You lost
I don't know what I look like on it. But hopefully we all look fine.
I think it's more like it's probably Cactus. It's more the fact that now you kind of have to watch what you're doing on screen. Like we laugh and we go like this, and the double chin comes out.
Honestly, I often forget that we're on YouTube, and
I
so
know.
it's not until later I think, I wonder if I pulled any weird faces in that episode. I probably did, but that's me.
And then you've got to be really conscious, like how you're sitting, because the camera might be going.
Yes.
I am prone to a short skirt.
Oh, it's good that we're now in jean season.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of helps.
Yes.
So, but no, it's awesome that we've been able to expand the podcast and go onto YouTube. And I know some of you have actually been viewing online. So thank you for doing that. And actually, you should comment and feedback to us if you are actually watching our YouTube.
I got a text from my mum the other day and she said, Beck, Dad and I have just been watching your show on YouTube. It was great. So that was good.
I love that from that generation, because that must be so alien to them.
Yeah, I
Really,
think they were
isn't it?
just like sitting on the lounge watching us on.
I think it adds so much more, doesn't it, when you're able to see us as well. So and see our guests in particular, because a lot of people, they hear their voices, but perhaps don't know what they look like. And I think it's really nice. I think your mum watched Dr. Colin Dix, didn't she? Yeah.
Because she read his book and she always likes to know what an author looks like. So she said it was great to watch Dr. Colin on the YouTube video so that she could see what he looked like. And they really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that process.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Caviar and Cactus? Let's talk royal family then.
Shall we?
Yes, because
Shall we?
Because you diss them on the coronation.
I know. I didn't
So
even
do you not
watch the
believe in the
coronation.
royal family anymore?
It's not that I don't believe in it. I wouldn't say we shouldn't be a monarchy country anymore. I wouldn't say any of that. I think I've just lost interest, to tell you the truth.
Okay, because I'm interested. Do you think that would represent a lot of Australians?
Perhaps. I think Australians really embrace Princess Diana.
Yeah.
And we loved her. And I remember as a child following all the magazines of Princess Di. She was really the people's princess.
Yeah.
And then, Kate and Will, they're great. Love watching them as well. But I think, after the Queen passing away and Charles is in, I can't say, like, I love the royal, what do you
pomp
call
and
it?
ceremony.
Yeah, I love all that.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to see all that as well. But personally, I'm not as interested in the new king as I was.
I think that's probably.
Sorry.
I think it probably is quite a common feeling.
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe watching Camilla get crowned and get called queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
it's
whether
a
that
hard one
received
for
kind
her.
of mixed.
I think because Diana was so loved that it is a hard one for people to adapt to.
What I did think was a bit distasteful was the coronation. Obviously, we're watching it from Australia, and so we're trying to get the different news channels. And I don't know what news channel it was, but the one that we tuned into first, it was talking all about Diana.
Yeah.
Now, everyone loved Diana. Diana was a beautiful royal that everybody seemed to love. But, she's been gone a long time now, and this was actually the King's Day.
Yeah.
It's a day that he has been preparing his whole life for, and he's now in his 70s.
Yeah.
So I just found it was probably a little bit distasteful to focus so much on Diana, because it really was the King's Day, despite how, he might be received.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever been particularly that enamoured with Prince Charles. He's always just been kind of a bit boring. Can I say that? I'm British. I do love you, England. I do. But, he's one of those royals that's been easily overlooked.
And that could be partly why it's not as interesting for Australians as it once was.
I wonder then, does that mean Australians would be in support of coming out of the Commonwealth?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because would we see the benefit of being in the Commonwealth?
Yeah, it's probably... I actually...
Don't know. Well, if you do know, or if you've got an opinion on that, then actually make a comment, get in touch with us, because I really love to hear what the Australian opinion is about us being part of the Commonwealth now that King Charles has been coronated.
There'll definitely be fors and against.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so you wouldn't have seen this because you didn't watch the coronation, but there was this moment where Harry walked in on his own.
Oh.
So Meghan was not allowed at the coronation. I think William and Kate forbade her to come.
Right.
So Harry walks in on his own. He's not in all his regalia and he sits away from the family.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts.
Do you feel sad for him? Do you think, he's got what he deserves? Do you think he should have come?
Honestly, I haven't kept too up to date with what's going on with them, but just from the top of my head, I think Harry's got some issues with his family, obviously. I think it was good that he was there to support the family, because I think family support is important. He would definitely have been missing Meghan, but I don't know. I think he did his royal duty in turning up.
Yeah. Do you know what I found funny? I saw all these news reports that there was this conspiracy theory that Meghan had actually turned up but had done the whole prosthetics and as somebody else, and they'd pinpointed this guy that kind of looked a bit odd in the audience, right?
Is that Meghan?
But it turns out he is I think one of the composers of one of the songs. So he was a real legitimate person. But I looked at this photo and I thought, I can actually see what they're saying.
Well, it's funny because Tony was showing me this article in the news, and it's interesting, the commentary around everything. And it was the lady who was carrying the sword. Did you see her?
At the front. She walked out the front of the procession. So you did watch it?
No, this is just through the news. They showed a photo of her. But apparently, according to this news article, she was given that role so that she wouldn't be in the limelight and take the attention away from somebody else. Anyway, as it turned out, she was in pretty much every photograph. And did take the limelight. So it really backfired on that person who was trying to get her out of the picture.
Do you know who the person was?
I believe it may have been the female prime minister who stepped in just for a short time and then was out.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've forgotten her name already.
Yeah. So, yes, if I'm wrong, please forgive me, but that's what I remember of that.
Oh, do you know, I love a good royal gossip session.
There you go.
I actually felt sad for Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's self-inflicted or what, and people think that he got what he deserves or whatever. Their whole family has lived their life with the view that one day Charles will be king and one day William will be king. And they've waited a long time. People are living a lot longer these days. So people are coming to the throne in their 70s, and that, if Charles lives another 20 years, William's 40. He's going to be an old man by the time he comes to the throne.
Yeah.
And they have been reared their whole life with that goal in mind.
Yeah.
And I think their whole family are focused around that. And then he wasn't really part of the family when that finally happened.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I actually think that's a real loss, and it's something he will never get back.
Yeah.
I mean, a coronation of your father becoming king is so huge. And to not be a part of the family, that I felt a real significant loss for him.
Do you think he likes not being in the limelight as much? Because I would imagine living as a royal, you're kind of living in a goldfish bowl, and every move is being watched all the time. You really don't get your own freedom of life and being able to do what you want without having cameras following you. And perhaps some members of the royal family would like to be a little bit more private.
I think there's pros and cons to it. Like I think that, yes, definitely they would want their privacy. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't? Yeah. You couldn't live like how Diana lived with that constant paparazzi following you. That would break even the most calmest of people. You just can't live like that. And so, yes, I think you would definitely crave your privacy. But at the same time, for someone like Harry, he's never lived without it. Yeah. So actually doesn't know how to survive without kind of media attention. Yes.
And even when he tried, he did a whole documentary on himself.
Yeah. Yeah, so in some ways I can kind of understand, because he was never given the skills to survive without it. Yeah. Without the spotlight or without attention on him, because you adapt to your environment, don't you? But at the same time, he needs his privacy. So yes. Am I becoming sympathetic to Harry? What is going on?
What's going on, Ange? I think I've also become cynical through COVID, that we don't know everything that's going on because there's so much below the surface. We're only being fed what the media wants us to be fed. Yeah. And so I kind of don't hold a lot of opinions on what the media says now, because I know there are so many other layers deeper down that we really don't know everything that's going on below the surface. And so I try not to make the judgments so much, because we're only being fed a minute portion of actual what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that leads me to our last one then. What is the Caviar and Cactus about? Social media.
Social media.
Gosh, we could do a whole podcast on this one, couldn't we?
Yeah. I think social media is great for getting news out and to let people know what's coming up, what we're doing, wanting to promote. For instance, with my book launch, social media is great for saying, hey, come along, this is happening.
Advertising.
Yeah, that's right. And even just putting thought-provoking thoughts out there and to see what other people are doing too, that they want to share. Once again, it's a little bit like writing your own book. You share what you want to share with people that might uplift or encourage people. I think when it gets negative and pulls people down unnecessarily, that's
or when people use it for their own therapy.
Yeah,
you feel like, I have to get this out, and so you post something up, but really how that is received is perhaps not how you intended.
That's right. And when you write a book, you write it for the reader. Yeah. So when you write a post, you write it for the viewer. Do you know what I mean? So keeping them in mind rather than, I just need to tell you what's annoying me today, but that's only.
I think for me, it's the fact I can stay connected with so many people from all over the world, and in particular family. Yeah. And so it's tiresome to have to ring every individual person and update them, which is what we used to have to do, right? Yeah. And tell them what's happening in your life. I think I'd spend all day doing that. If you post something on social media, if it's a significant event or you've won some award or whatever, or you're on this nice holiday, your family can still feel like they're a part of your life without having to invest all that time in keeping them involved. And that to me is really beneficial, particularly because I live so far away from family, and I never really feel like I'm too far away, because I'm always knowing what's going on in their life as well. I can see they've visited this, or they've gone to this concert or whatever. Incidentally, one of my family members went to the Coronation concert. And they were right at the front. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that's so cool. Anyway, and I've not spoken to them, but I've seen it because of social media. And so I almost feel connected to their enjoyment of that moment. And wow, what a great celebration that is. And so you kind of feel still like you're a part of it.
That's it, isn't it? It's sharing experiences with people. Being part of each other's lives.
So I love that. But I think the cactus about it is really, I do think it has contributed to, particularly for young people, mental health decline. I really think poor body image, lack of social skills, depression and suicide and all that sort. I think that's all increased because of social media. So there's some real downsides and negatives to it. And I think that's where we have to really put those boundaries in place, not just for us, but for our kids.
That's right.
To monitor that, because no one else is doing that. Like social media itself, there's nobody is going to be monitoring what's healthy for you or what's healthy for your kids. Only we can do that.
Yeah, that's right. And I do think there's an element of like people do still need to be real on social media. I think if social media is only portraying this perfect image of everybody, that is hard for people to live up to, or if they're comparing themselves to that, that's a very difficult place for people to be in. Whereas I think the ones that relate most to people are things that they share in common with, things like that.
Yeah. So we would love to hear what you think, whether it's about social media, about Harry, coronation, whatever it is. Why don't you tell us your opinion and join the conversation and tell us what your caviar and cactus moments are?
Yes. And shall we finish with a little poem
from
my new book?
So your caviar moment was the fact that you had your book launch.
Launch. So I'm going to share a little poem just to finish. Where's my glasses?
Do you want to borrow mine even?
Oh, yes, they're very lovely. Okay, so are we ready? Okay. And when it seems there's nothing left, just look and you will find that nothing is for something new, which nothing will remind. For when you lose the days you knew, which now are left behind, the day that's here will ask of you for something new to find. So there you go. Look for something new.
Oh, what we didn't mention.
Yes.
It's our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, happy birthday to us.
Yes, so this is our... well, how did we miss that? Our overall caviar moment is that we have been going for one whole year.
Happy birthday to us.
Come on, Dave. We'll sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday to us, the Gold Diggers podcast.
We have officially been going 52
for a whole year. Yes,
weeks. We've done 52 episodes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And we're going to keep going
interviews.
and getting bigger and brighter next year.
Yes.
So thank you for being on the journey with us. We've
we-
loved you being along.
Yes, we love our listeners. Thank you for sharing in our journey, and thank you to all the people who have come on our show and been our guests.
Yeah.
We've loved meeting every one of you.
So that's it for today's podcast. You'll find us on all the major podcast platforms. The podcasts come out every Wednesday. We'd love to hear from you on our socials, the Gold Diggers Podcast. Tell us about your story so we can find the gold in you.
Easy as pie, lemon, apple or cherry. Loving you is so very sweet, sweet, sweet. How can it be such a piece of cake? And your smile is the icing. Loving you is a party. Honey, you're my sugar.